Governor, do you want to talk about the threats in the financial services industry in particular, and who the attackers are,
Sure.
And
Again, this is all relative. So if you think of the private sector companies who's most accustomed to dealing with these threats and building up some expertise and some resiliency around it, the financial service sector has been a target and has been dealing with this somewhat longer than many other sectors. So they're a little more seasoned, have been a little more targeted in terms of the opponents coming after them, and are probably better positioned than some other sectors. Keep in mind, and the Admiral knows this, but the very best people in the whole country, namely the Department of Defense and related entities, have had their most sensitive secrets stolen, in some cases by cyber attacks, and it's a matter of public record. So that goes to your friend Jay. Should he worry? Well, if you've got the very best at the very top guarding the most precious information, and that got taken, then you know we've got some issues. But that being said, the financial service sector is in relatively better shape than perhaps some of the others, but they're under attack. So every week there's distributed denial of service attacks are occurring. They take the form of actors trying to slow up, gunk up, frustrate the user experience at the website or app level. They are annoying, they are frustrating, they're inefficient, but they haven't yet migrated to the point where somebody's been able to pull off a large-scale cyber bank robbery.
what is the motivation for those attacks? Is it
money or strategic defects? So you've got here's the type of actors. It could range from, still struggling with acne teenagers who are having fun in their mom and dad's basement, goofing around as hackers. It could be Ukrainian mobsters. It could be state-sponsored or semi-state-sponsored entities who are probing defenses to set it up for a next layer or more complicated attack later down the road. And their motives could simply be money, like the folks who took $45 million out of a kind of a ham-fisted ATM deal a couple months ago. Or it could be folks who have much more mischievous and much more strategic designs in mind.
Let me offer just a comment, a context. That I've been focused on this for so many years. When I went to the National Security Agency as new director in the early 90s, I was struggling with Cold War's over and the world's changing and the internet's been created and how are we going to be focused. So I really have worried about the problem. Now let me go to banking. First of all, financial services are the best in the private sector. They're the best. Why? They got money and that's what criminals want, so they've targeted, so they're kind of forced to address the issue. That said, the U.S. economy is $16 trillion a year, $16 trillion a year. In the banking system, and my view is the world will not work without banks, a unit of measure into which people have confidence. That's what facilitates the flow of goods and services and trading and so on. In the global banking system, $13 trillion a day is cleared. Now, capture those numbers. Our economy, largest in the world, largest in the history of the world, $16 trillion a year, and $13 trillion a day flows through the system. One bank clears half of that money. So now if I'm really good,
and that bank is?
One bank clears half of that money.
I think that's I think that's Googleable.
Well, I'm claimed. It is claimed that I'm helping the terrorists understand what to target. I don't want to get too specific, but if I were a terrorist and I had some of these advanced tools that would allow me to change every 15th zero to a 1, it would slowly contaminate the system. And I have every confidence if you can't clear at the speed of light, banking stops. So if I were a terrorist, that's what I would target.